At the age of 35, a man named Thomas Edison was told by his teachers that he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs and had over 1,000 failed experiments before finally creating the light bulb. But instead of giving up, Edison held on to one belief: I haven't failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work. Edison's story isn't just one of invention. It's a powerful reminder that your past does not define your future. The failures you've experienced, the mistakes you've made, they are simply stepping stones leading you toward the greatness that lies ahead. And just like Edison, the path to your new journey requires letting go of what's holding you back and embracing the unknown. You're not defined by your past. You're only limited by your willingness to release it. Your true potential begins when you step into the new, guided by faith and resilience. It's time to stop looking backward and start moving forward, because your journey is just beginning. Letting go of the past is something that is often easier said than done. We are creatures of habit, and the past, with its memories, its moments of joy, pain, success, and failure, can feel like a safety net that we can't fully discard. But that safety net can sometimes be the very thing that prevents us from moving forward, from embracing the new chapters that life has to offer. The power of letting go isn't just about closing the door on something. It's about opening yourself up to something better, something that you cannot yet see, but know is waiting for you. Think of it as a tree in autumn shedding its leaves. The tree doesn't resist the falling of the leaves. It allows the cycle of nature to take its course, knowing that the leaves that fall will make way for new growth, new leaves in the spring. Life operates in seasons, and not all seasons are meant to last forever. Some are meant to teach us, to shape us, and then to release us so we can step into something new. The pain that you may feel when you let go of the past is natural. It's a kind of grief, a mourning for what was, what could have been, and what you thought would always remain. But in order to step into the life you are meant to live, you must make room for it. Imagine trying to fit a new, beautiful, larger table into a room already cluttered with old furniture. If you want to bring something new into your life, you must clear space for it. Letting go of the past is that act of clearing space, of making room for the next chapter of your life to unfold. As much as we might tell ourselves we're ready to move on, the truth is that holding on to the past can be a form of comfort. The familiar, even if it was painful or unfulfilling, feels safe because we know it. It's like having a wound that you keep picking at, even though it's not healing. The act of letting go can feel like you're abandoning that part of yourself or that part of your life, and that can be incredibly difficult. But the truth is, every time you hold on to the past, you're denying yourself the opportunity for growth. You're denying yourself the chance to become who you're meant to be, to experience what you were put on this earth to experience. This doesn't mean forgetting or erasing the past. It doesn't mean pretending that the things that hurt you or shaped you didn't matter. Letting go is about acknowledging the past, learning from it, and then deciding to no longer let it control your present or dictate your future. It's about realizing that the past is a part of you, but it does not have to define you. It's understanding that you are more than the sum of your past experiences. You are more than your mistakes, your regrets, your losses. You are an evolving being, always capable of growth, always capable of change. In a way, holding on to the past can be a form of resistance. We resist the natural flow of life. We resist the changes that are meant to happen, and in doing so, we hold ourselves back. This doesn't mean you should rush to forget or suppress the emotions tied to the past. There is a difference between acknowledging and releasing. You can acknowledge the pain, the lessons, the love, the disappointments, but then you have the choice to let them go. When you let go, you're not saying that those things didn't matter. What you're saying is that they no longer have the power to hold you in place. You are moving forward with the strength of those lessons, but no longer weighed down by them. One of the most powerful things that can happen when you let go is that you free up space to receive something greater. Whether it's a new opportunity, a new relationship, or a new perspective, letting go of the past creates space for something new to enter your life. But you have to be willing to make that space. The universe, or God, or whatever you believe in, is always working to bring you into alignment with your higher self, but requires your participation. By choosing to let go, you are taking an active step in your own transformation. It's a step that says, I trust that there's something better for me, something that's in alignment with who I am now and who I am becoming. Think about it in terms of personal growth. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person you are today, and you wouldn't want to go back to that version of yourself, would you? That's the beauty of life. It's always moving us forward, even when we don't realize it. And as we grow, the past becomes something that we look back on with gratitude, not because it was perfect or without pain, but because it helped shape who we are today. Letting go of the past is not about rejecting the lessons you've learned or the experiences you've had. It's about recognizing that you are now in a place where you can use those lessons to propel you forward into something even greater. The process of letting go doesn't always happen in a single moment, either. Sometimes it's a gradual unfolding, a slow shedding of layers, until one day you realize you've let go of something that once held you back. The key is to keep moving forward. When you make the choice to release the past, you begin to notice the subtle shifts within you, new desires, new opportunities, new relationships, and you realize that the life you've been waiting for is already unfolding. You don't have to force it, you don't have to strive for it. Just let go, and trust that the universe will take care of the rest. It's important to remember that letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes great courage to release what you've known, to step into the unknown, to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. It's not about pretending that everything is okay or that you have everything figured out. It's about knowing that you're exactly where you're meant to be and that everything you need will come to you when the time is right. In letting go, you are essentially telling the world that you are ready for the next phase of your journey. You are saying that you are open to change, to growth, to the newness that is available to you. You're not settling for what you've known. You're saying yes to what you haven't yet imagined. And in doing so, you open yourself up to possibilities that were previously unavailable to you. So, the next time you feel the pull of the past, the urge to hold on to something that no longer serves you, remember that letting go is an act of faith. It's the act of trusting that something better is on the horizon. Letting go is not just a way of releasing the past, it's a way of stepping into the future with open arms, ready for the new journey that is waiting for you. And when you do, you'll find that the past becomes something you can look back on with gratitude, knowing that it has made you who you are today, but it no longer defines who you are becoming. Let go, and let life take you exactly where you need to go. The connection between letting go of the past and psychological freedom is profound. When we choose to release the emotional baggage that often ties us to past experiences, it's not just about setting ourselves free from memories or events. It's about reclaiming our mental clarity, our peace, and our ability to move forward. Think of your mind as a garden. When it is filled with weeds of past hurt, regret, or unresolved emotions, there is little room for growth. The garden is suffocated, unable to receive the nourishment of new experiences, ideas, or possibilities. In contrast, when we let go of these weeds, when we release the emotional weight, we open up the space for new, healthy growth to occur. Psychologically, the act of holding on to the past is incredibly draining. It requires mental energy to constantly revisit old wounds or to replay moments of failure, regret, or disappointment. Your mind is wired to learn from the past, but when that past is constantly rehashed in a loop of negativity or guilt, it becomes an anchor. The mind is no longer free to focus on the present moment, to solve new problems, or to embrace fresh opportunities. Instead, it remains trapped in a cycle of rumination. This is where psychological freedom becomes so essential. To experience freedom of the mind is to release yourself from that cycle. It is to stop being a prisoner of your past mistakes, traumas, or even your former identity, and to finally allow your thoughts to flow in the direction of growth, creativity, and possibility. The mind is incredibly powerful. Research in psychology has shown that the way we think about our past directly impacts our mental well-being. People who spend an inordinate amount of time focusing on past failures or regrets often experience higher levels of anxiety and depression. On the flip side, individuals who practice mindfulness, who focus on the present moment and learn from past experiences without being consumed by them, are more likely to experience higher levels of well-being and emotional resilience. It's as if the mind has to break free from the emotional shackles of the past before it can fully embrace the freedom to live in the present. This freedom isn't just about feeling better in the moment. It's about creating a new mental framework that allows for clarity, peace, and the ability to grow. Psychological release doesn't come without its challenges. It is far easier to remain attached to the past, to use it as a justification for staying stuck, for not moving forward. In fact, the past can become a comfortable place to retreat to when the present feels uncertain or overwhelming. The familiarity of old pain or old narratives can feel safer than the unknown. But this is a false sense of safety. The truth is that while the past may have shaped who you are, it does not define you. Every day is a new opportunity to reframe your story, to rewrite your narrative, and to choose a new path. The psychological freedom that comes with letting go of the past is the freedom to create a new version of yourself, one that is not tethered to old stories or emotional wounds. It's about rewriting your future, not by denying the past, but by learning from it and deciding not to let it control your future. When you choose to release the past, it's like you're taking back control of your life. The emotions that once controlled you, fear, guilt, shame, regret, no longer have the power to dictate your choices. This release is not an act of forgetting, it is an act of empowerment. It's about choosing to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your decisions in the present moment. This kind of psychological release is transformative. It allows you to move forward with a clearer mind, a lighter heart, and a sense of purpose. You stop carrying the burden of the past, and in doing so, you make room for new experiences, relationships, and opportunities to enter your life. Freedom from the past also means freedom from the constraints that we often place on ourselves. Many of us carry limiting beliefs based on past experiences. I'm not good enough. I'm too broken to heal. I've failed too many times. These beliefs are often rooted in past events or patterns, and they continue to shape how we see ourselves. The truth is that these beliefs are not facts. They are interpretations of past events, often distorted by emotion, fear, or self-doubt. The moment you let go of these past interpretations, you create the space to question those beliefs, to challenge them, and to replace them with healthier, more empowering thoughts. Psychologically, this shift is monumental. It's like finally stepping out of a small, dimly lit room into the sunlight where the possibilities are endless. As you let go of the past, you begin to cultivate a new relationship with yourself. Instead of seeing yourself through the lens of past mistakes or disappointments, you start to see yourself as someone capable of growth, change, and new beginnings. This transformation is gradual, but it is incredibly powerful. It's the difference between living in a constant state of reaction, where the past dictates every emotional response, and living in a state of proactive creation, where you take control of your own narrative. This shift isn't just liberating for your mind, it's liberating for your entire life. When your mind is free from the grip of the past, your life opens up to endless possibilities. This psychological freedom doesn't come in an instant. It's a journey, one that requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to let go of old stories. But as you embark on this journey, you'll find that the weight of your past becomes lighter and the future becomes brighter. Your thoughts no longer circle back to old wounds, old fears, or old patterns. Instead, you begin to live in the present moment where all possibilities exist. You start to see yourself not as a product of your past, but as a person who is continually evolving, growing, and capable of creating the future you desire. Releasing the past is one of the most profound acts of self-love and self-care that you can engage in. It is an acknowledgement that you deserve the freedom to live your life without being weighed down by what has come before. It is the ultimate act of trust in yourself, in your ability to move forward, to create new experiences, and to embrace the beauty of what lies ahead. In the process of letting go, you gain the most powerful gift of all, psychological freedom. With this freedom comes the clarity to move forward, to make better decisions, and to embrace new opportunities with open arms. It's not about forgetting. It's about choosing to live in the present, and in doing so, creating a future that is yours to shape. Trusting God's timing is one of those principles that can seem easy in theory, but profoundly challenging in practice. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, where everything from fast food to instant messaging delivers the expectation of immediate results, the idea of waiting for divine timing feels counterintuitive. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting things to happen on our terms, when we're ready, when we've done enough, when we've pushed and forced circumstances into alignment. But what if the answer isn't in the timing we impose on life? What if the timing we need is the one that unfolds naturally, in line with a larger plan we might not fully understand? This kind of trust is deeply intertwined with faith, the kind of faith that says, even though I don't see the outcome, I believe the right things will happen at the right time. It's difficult to trust God's timing when we're faced with waiting, when nothing seems to be happening despite our best efforts. You might find yourself in a season of stagnation, watching others move forward in their careers, relationships, or personal growth, while you feel stuck, confused, or even frustrated. The temptation is to question why it hasn't happened for you yet. You may ask yourself, why am I still here? Why hasn't God answered my prayers or opened the door I've been knocking on so desperately? This uncertainty can lead to feelings of impatience, doubt, and at times, even resentment. But this moment of discomfort is exactly where trust in God's timing comes into play. What if what you need is not what you're chasing now, but something deeper, something more significant that requires the perfect timing of a higher power? There's a profound freedom in letting go of the need to control everything. When you surrender your plans and embrace God's timing, you're giving up the illusion that you're the one orchestrating your life. You're choosing to believe that something greater than yourself is at work. It's like trying to build a house without knowing the blueprint. You might have all the materials, but without the proper design, it won't be stable, and it won't withstand the challenges life throws at it. God, in His infinite wisdom, has the blueprint. He knows what you need, when you need it, and how it will best serve your life. It might take longer than you want, but it's not because He's forgotten you. It's because He's preparing something more magnificent than you could have imagined, and He's ensuring that the conditions are just right before delivering it to you. This trust doesn't negate the reality of struggle or uncertainty. It's not about pretending everything is fine or ignoring the frustration that comes from waiting. It's about understanding that some seasons are meant for growth, refinement, and preparation. Sometimes we can't see the fruits of our labor immediately because the seed needs time to grow in the soil, to take root before it can sprout into something beautiful. There's beauty in the waiting, in the quiet moments where God is working behind the scenes. When you trust His timing, you allow yourself to be shaped, to become more of who you're meant to be before the blessing arrives. Without these moments of refinement, you might not be ready to handle what God has for you. God's timing also speaks to the deep lessons of patience and endurance. These qualities are not easily cultivated in a world that demands immediacy. Learning to wait, to trust that the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances will come in due time, forces you to confront your own impatience, to learn that some things cannot be rushed. Patience in this sense is not passive waiting, but an active trust in the process. It's living with the understanding that everything is unfolding for your benefit, even when it feels like the opposite is true. It's choosing to believe that the right door will open when it is time, not when you want it to, and that the closed doors are just as necessary for your journey as the open ones. Sometimes trusting God's timing means you will have to let go of your own timeline. It requires humility to acknowledge that we don't always know what's best for us. Our limited vision is constrained by our own experiences, desires, and fears, while God's perspective is limitless. He sees the full picture, our present, our past, and our future, while we can only see what's directly in front of us. What may seem like a delay is often just a part of the bigger plan, a plan that involves not just you, but the people and circumstances that surround you. In this sense, trusting God's timing means trusting that there's a greater good at play, even when we don't immediately understand it. One of the hardest aspects of this trust is the feeling of being overlooked or forgotten. When we're in the waiting period, it can feel like we're invisible, like others are progressing while we stand still. But this is where faith comes in. God's timing isn't dictated by the world's standards, and just because others seem to be advancing doesn't mean you're being left behind. The Bible tells us that God's thoughts are higher than ours, and His ways are beyond our understanding. The things that seem like setbacks may in fact be opportunities for us to grow stronger, to gain wisdom, or to cultivate character that we will need for the future. Trusting God's timing means believing that no moment is wasted, even if it feels like time is slipping away. When you trust in God's timing, you also learn to trust in yourself. You begin to realize that you are exactly where you need to be, and that God is not absent in your life's journey. His presence isn't tied to a specific moment of success or accomplishment. He is present in every moment, even the waiting ones. And as you trust Him, you start to notice His hand in the smallest details of your life, the conversations, the encounters, the seemingly random events that are actually part of a divine plan. It's like you're given a new set of lenses through which to view your life, seeing not just the present, but the hand of God at work, orchestrating events for your good. Trusting God's timing doesn't mean abandoning your dreams or not working toward your goals. It means aligning your efforts with a deeper sense of purpose, trusting that your actions are part of a larger narrative. It's about working hard and doing your part, while also knowing that there is a perfect time for things to unfold. Trusting His timing is an invitation to be at peace with the process, to rest in the certainty that God is always with you, even in moments of silence, even in the times when it feels like nothing is happening. You might not see the fruits of your labor immediately, You might not understand why you're still waiting, but God's timing is always precise. It's the timing that aligns with your growth, with your readiness, and with the best possible outcome for your life. As hard as it may be to let go of the need to control the outcome, the act of trusting God's timing allows you to surrender your worries, your doubts, and your fears, and to walk in confidence that what is meant for you will always come to you at the perfect moment. Trusting His timing is a declaration of faith that says, even though I can't see the whole picture, I trust that it's being painted for me in a way that is beyond my understanding, but exactly what I need. Healing is a deeply personal experience, one that goes beyond just physical recovery. It's an intricate, often painful journey that involves mind, body, and spirit. When it comes to healing through faith and action, there's a dynamic relationship between the two. It's not just about waiting for divine intervention, nor is it simply about taking matters into our own hands. True healing requires the willingness to step into the unknown and allow ourselves to be transformed, and it also requires the courage to take concrete actions to support that transformation. It's a fusion of surrender and effort, trust and resilience. God's healing power is available to all of us, but it often works in ways that require our cooperation. The idea that healing happens in one miraculous moment is alluring, but the reality is often far more complex. Healing, especially when it comes to emotional, mental, or spiritual wounds, is a process. It's something that unfolds over time, with moments of progress and setbacks. There's a misconception that if you have faith, everything will just fall into place without any effort on your part. While faith is undeniably essential in the healing process, it's not enough to simply pray and wait for everything to be fixed. Healing requires that we actively participate in our own recovery, that we make choices that align with our healing, and that we take steps, even small ones, toward recovery. God's guidance may lead us to actions that allow us to heal, whether that's seeking therapy, talking to a trusted friend, or confronting the difficult emotions we've been avoiding. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we must handle everything on our own. Society often reinforces this idea: be strong, be independent, don't ask for help. But healing through faith requires us to acknowledge that we can't do it all by ourselves. The act of seeking help, whether it's through prayer, community, or professional support, is an important part of the process. Faith doesn't mean sitting passively while God works. Faith means trusting that God will provide the resources, the people, and the opportunities for healing when we make the conscious decision to take action. It means knowing that even when we feel stuck, there is still progress happening beneath the surface. There is power in acknowledging that healing is a journey, not a destination. When we approach our wounds with the understanding that they are part of the process of becoming whole, we begin to shift our perspective on pain and suffering. We stop seeing them as obstacles or signs of failure, and instead start seeing them as tools that shape us. The Bible speaks of the refining process, how gold is purified by fire. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it, removing the impurities. In the same way, the challenges we face in life can refine us, but only if we are willing to face them and allow them to teach us. We might not want to experience pain, but we can trust that God uses those moments to shape us into stronger, more resilient people. Without those moments, we would remain unchanged, stagnant in our growth. When it comes to healing through action, it's not always about doing something grand. It's often the small steps, the quiet choices, the moments when we choose to get up and move forward despite the pain, that make the biggest difference. Healing doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like taking a deep breath, or finding the courage to forgive someone who's hurt you, or deciding to leave behind a toxic situation. These actions may seem insignificant, but they are incredibly powerful in the healing process. They are declarations of self-worth and self-love. They are ways of saying to the universe, I am worthy of healing. I am worthy of peace. Taking these actions may not immediately fix everything, but they lay the foundation for lasting change. Healing is often about momentum, the courage to take the first step, and then the next, until one day you realize that the pain that once seemed unbearable is now something you can live with, something that has taught you, strengthened you, and ultimately helped you grow. Faith is essential in this process because it's what anchors us when we feel lost or unsure. When we can't see the way forward, when the path is unclear, faith provides a light we need to keep going. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well, when we're feeling good, and the world is in alignment with our desires. But when we're facing illness, heartbreak, or loss, faith becomes more challenging. It's in these moments, however, that faith becomes most powerful. When we can't see the end of the tunnel, when the hurt feels too deep to heal, it is faith that sustains us. Faith tells us that even in our darkest moments, God is working behind the scenes, providing us with the strength to keep going. It reminds us that we don't need to understand everything. We simply need to trust that God's plan is greater than our own. At the same time, healing through action doesn't mean that we rush through the process or expect instant results. Healing takes time, and rushing it can often lead to deeper wounds. This is why the balance between faith and action is so important. Faith teaches us patience. It tells us that healing is a process that unfolds as it should. Action, however, reminds us that while healing takes time, it also requires us to be proactive in our own well-being. It encourages us to take steps, however small, toward our recovery. These actions might be as simple as choosing to rest when we need it, or deciding to let go of bitterness, or taking the time to nurture our relationships with others. The journey of healing through faith and action is not a linear one. There will be moments when you feel like you're moving forward, only to encounter setbacks. There will be days when you feel strong and whole, and other days when the wounds feel fresh again. This is normal. Healing is not about reaching a destination where you are forever free of pain. It's about learning to live with the scars, to allow them to be a part of your story without allowing them to define you. It's about becoming more whole with each step, even when it feels like the progress is slow. It's about choosing to live each day with the understanding that healing is not something that happens overnight, but something that is continually unfolding. In the midst of this journey, God's role in healing cannot be underestimated. His presence in our lives is a constant source of strength, comfort, and guidance. When we lean on Him during times of struggle, we are reminded that we are not alone. Our healing is not solely dependent on our own efforts, but on the grace that He provides. His healing power is limitless, and while it might not always come in the form we expect, it is always present. Healing through faith and action is a collaboration, where we play our part by taking the steps toward recovery, and God plays His part by providing the strength, wisdom, and grace to help us through. Ultimately, healing through faith and action is a reminder that we are not powerless in our own recovery. We are active participants in our journey toward wholeness. It is through our faith in God's timing and our willingness to take action that we can experience true healing, healing that transforms not just our bodies, but our hearts and minds as well. Vulnerability is often perceived as a weakness in a world that values strength, independence, and self-reliance. We're taught from a young age to be strong, to push through adversity without showing too much emotion, and to keep our struggles hidden. But the truth is, vulnerability is not a weakness. It is one of the most powerful and courageous aspects of being human. When we choose to be vulnerable, we allow ourselves to experience life fully and authentically. We create space for deeper connections, richer experiences, and the opportunity for real growth. To be vulnerable is to expose ourselves, to take the risk of showing parts of us that are often hidden, either because we fear judgment or because we've learned to shield ourselves from the pain of rejection. It's the decision to open our hearts, even when we've been hurt before. In doing so, we allow ourselves to heal in ways we cannot if we remain closed off. Vulnerability is not the absence of strength. It is, in fact, a form of strength. It requires courage to be open, to trust, and to step into the unknown, especially when the world around us often encourages us to protect ourselves from pain. When we embrace vulnerability, we let go of the need to control everything. Control is often a defense mechanism we use to avoid vulnerability. We fear that if we don't have everything figured out, if we don't keep up the appearance of being perfectly put together, we will be rejected or, worse, exposed. But the reality is that no one is perfect, and pretending to be only isolates us from the deep connections we crave. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we allow others to see us for who we truly are, not the version of ourselves we present to the world, but the raw, imperfect, beautiful person beneath the surface. In that moment, we become real, and in that authenticity, we begin to experience healing, connection, and acceptance. It's important to understand that vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or putting ourselves in situations where we are constantly exposed. Being vulnerable is about finding the courage to be open about our feelings, our struggles, our dreams, and our fears in a safe and healthy way. It's about letting people see the parts of us that we often try to hide, not because we want to be vulnerable all the time, but because we understand that it's necessary for deeper intimacy and growth. Vulnerability is the bridge that connects us to others in meaningful ways. When we show up as our authentic selves, we give others permission to do the same, creating a space where both sides can heal and grow together. It's also vital to recognize that vulnerability doesn't mean weakness, nor does it mean that we are unprepared for what might come. Being vulnerable requires strength, inner courage, and emotional resilience. It means trusting others, trusting ourselves, and trusting God to help us navigate the complexities of life. It's about opening up to the possibility of being hurt, but choosing to love and trust anyway. The more we practice vulnerability, the more we realize that it's not about being defenseless or exposed, but rather about being authentic, honest, and real with ourselves and the world. It's about accepting that we can't always protect ourselves from hurt, and that, even in pain, there is strength in being open and honest about what we feel. We also need to understand that vulnerability is an act of self-compassion. When we are vulnerable, we allow ourselves to be human. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to have it all figured out. Vulnerability allows us to let go of the pressure to perform and to be accepted and loved for exactly who we are. It invites us to release the burdens we've carried, the masks we've worn, and the walls we've built to protect ourselves from judgment or rejection. It allows us to say, "I am enough just as I am." The act of being vulnerable is, in itself, an act of self-love because it frees us from the expectations that we have placed on ourselves to be flawless. At its core, vulnerability is about trust. It's about trusting ourselves enough to share our true selves, and it's about trusting others to hold that vulnerability with care and respect. When we trust others with our vulnerability, we allow them to witness our humanity, our growth, and our pain. In doing so, we create deeper connections with the people around us. These connections can lead to transformative healing as we begin to feel understood, supported, and loved in ways that we might have been longing for but didn't know how to ask for. The strength of vulnerability is also in its ability to transform relationships. When we open up and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we invite others to do the same. It's through these mutual exchanges that trust is built and true intimacy is formed. Vulnerability in relationships allows for authenticity, where both parties feel safe to express their true selves, free of fear of judgment or rejection. It's in these moments of openness that we truly see each other, not as perfect beings, but as flawed and beautiful humans doing our best. It's this understanding that deepens relationships and builds the foundation for love, respect, and connection. One of the most powerful aspects of vulnerability is its role in healing. When we are vulnerable, we give ourselves the space to process our emotions, to express our fears and pain, and to let go of the past. The more we hide from our vulnerabilities, the more we hold on to our emotional wounds. These wounds stay buried, festering and growing, until they are brought to light. Vulnerability is the tool that allows us to face these wounds, to confront them head-on, and to begin the process of healing. It's through vulnerability that we can let go of the pain we've been carrying for so long, understanding that in sharing our hurt, we make space for healing to take place. It's only when we expose the darkness within that we can begin to shine light on it. Being vulnerable doesn't mean that we should put ourselves in harm's way or expose ourselves to situations that are unsafe. Vulnerability is about finding the courage to share with those who are trustworthy, those who will honor and respect our openness. It's about choosing to share the parts of ourselves that are most tender, the parts that need healing, and offering them up in a way that is both brave and intentional. By doing so, we learn to trust ourselves and others, and we begin to experience the transformative power of love, understanding, and support. In a world that often values strength and stoicism over emotional openness, vulnerability can feel like an act of rebellion. Yet it is, in fact, one of the most humanizing acts we can engage in. It is the ultimate expression of our authenticity, our willingness to be real in a world that often pushes us to hide behind facades. Vulnerability isn't about exposing all of our weaknesses, but about allowing ourselves to be seen as we are, imperfect, struggling, growing, and loving. It is in this rawness that we find the courage to become the people we are meant to be. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we allow others to do the same, creating a world where true connection, understanding, and healing can take place. Sometimes when we are stuck in a particular season of our life, it can feel as though things will never change. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that seasons are temporary, that the difficulties, struggles, and challenges we face are part of a larger cycle, one that is constantly shifting. Just as the winter eventually gives way to spring, the seasons of hardship in our lives will eventually transition into periods of peace, growth, and clarity. The truth is that life is a constant ebb and flow, and the hard times you may be going through right now are not permanent. The storms you're facing, the uncertainty, and the pain are all part of a natural process of change that will lead to better days. In every person's journey, there are seasons of struggle, just as there are seasons of joy. The difficult times we face don't last forever. Even when we feel overwhelmed or as if we're standing in the middle of a storm, the storm itself will eventually pass. What may seem like an endless struggle is often a moment in time that will one day be a distant memory. It's easy to forget that when we're in the midst of it, the pain can cloud our vision, making it seem as if the hardship will never end. We become focused on the present difficulty and lose sight of the fact that life moves in cycles, constantly evolving. Time is a healer, even though it doesn't always feel like it when we're living through a tough moment. One of the most important things to realize is that the suffering we endure, while painful, is often the soil in which our growth happens. If everything in life were easy, we wouldn't experience the depth of understanding or the resilience that we build through adversity. The struggles and challenges you face may seem unbearable at times, but they are also shaping you. They are giving you the strength, wisdom, and character that you need to step into the next phase of your life. It's like the process of refining gold. The fire burns away the impurities, and the result is something more beautiful, more valuable. Your struggles are the fire that is refining you, preparing you for something greater ahead. During tough times, it can feel like the future is uncertain, and it's easy to question whether things will ever get better. The key is to shift your focus away from the pain you're experiencing now and to trust that change is inevitable. Nothing in life remains the same forever. The seasons change. People change. We change. If you look back at your life, you'll realize that you've already survived countless struggles and transitions. You've already been through hard seasons, and you've made it through each one. Those seasons of hardship, as difficult as they were, didn't last forever, and you are stronger because of them. The same is true now. The challenge you face will not last forever. In those moments when you feel like you can't take one more step or when you feel completely lost, it's important to remind yourself that this is just one part of your story, not the entire story. It's natural to want to hold on to comfort, to wish that everything could be easy and free of struggle. But the reality is that life is designed for growth, and growth often happens in most uncomfortable circumstances. The key to navigating the tough seasons of life is to trust that there is purpose in everything, even in the struggles. God doesn't waste any pain. Every challenge is part of the process, even when we can't see the end result just yet. During difficult times, it's crucial to allow yourself to feel your emotions without judgment. Denying your feelings, trying to push them away, or pretending that everything is fine when it's not, only prolongs the suffering. Feel what you need to feel. Cry when you need to cry. Be angry when you need to be angry. These emotions are valid. They are part of the healing process, and they are part of the transition from one season to the next. As you go through the process of acknowledging and feeling your emotions, you're giving yourself permission to heal. The act of allowing yourself to feel is a key part of moving through hardship and coming out stronger on the other side. Sometimes it's in the darkest moments that we are able to see the light most clearly. When life feels the hardest, when we are surrounded by uncertainty and pain, we may be closer than ever to the breakthrough we've been waiting for. Change often comes in the moments when we feel like we are at our lowest. It's like a seed in the ground, buried under the dirt, going through a period of darkness before it pushes through the soil into the light. That period of darkness is necessary for the seed to grow strong enough to rise above the earth. Likewise, the difficult seasons of your life are necessary for your growth. They prepare you for the good things that are coming, things that might be beyond what you could ever imagine. In moments of difficulty, it's also important to lean on faith. When you can't see the way forward, trust that there is a higher purpose guiding you. Even if you don't have all the answers, even if you don't see the end goal, believe that God is leading you towards something greater. The challenges and struggles you face are part of a larger divine plan, and though you may not understand it now, you will see how it all fits together in time. Every setback, every failure, every hardship is leading you somewhere toward your growth, toward new opportunities, toward the person you are meant to become. Trust that God is working on your behalf, even when you can't see the plan. When you find yourself in a tough season, focus on what you can control. You may not be able to change the situation or the circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them. It's in how you respond to challenges that your character is built. You can choose to face difficulty with grace, with patience, and with strength. Every small choice you make, every act of resilience, is a step toward your breakthrough. You can control your attitude, your outlook, and your actions. These small choices can make all the difference in how you experience the difficult season you're in. There is no timetable for healing. There is no exact date when everything will magically become okay. But change is inevitable. The seasons of struggle will eventually shift into seasons of growth. The pain you feel now will not last forever. You will move through it, and you will come out stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Life has its ups and downs, but one thing is certain: nothing stays the same forever. Just as the leaves fall in the fall and bloom again in the spring, your life, too, will go through cycles. Hold on to the hope that change is coming. Embrace the process of growth. Trust that this season, too, shall pass, and the next chapter will be filled with new possibilities, new opportunities, and a renewed sense of purpose. Trust that in this moment, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. There is no rush. Take your time. Allow yourself the grace to experience the journey, knowing that the storms you're facing now are making you stronger for what lies ahead. You have survived all the seasons before this one, and you will survive this one too. Keep moving forward, even when it feels hard, because brighter days are ahead, and the best chapters of your story are still waiting to be written. You are not defined by the struggles you face. The storms may rage, the winds may howl, and the darkness may seem endless, but remember this: you have already weathered storms before, and you will rise stronger from this one too. The power to heal, to grow, and to move forward lies within you. It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you rise after each setback. Every challenge, every painful moment is an opportunity to become the person you were always meant to be. The road may be hard, the night's long, but the dawn is coming. It always does. And when it arrives, you will see that every step, every tear, every moment of doubt was leading you to something far greater than you could have imagined. The journey you're on right now is not random. It's part of your story, part of a divine plan unfolding, step by step. Embrace this process, trust the timing, and let go of what no longer serves you. Let your heart be open to the lessons and growth that come from embracing both the beauty and the pain of life. The chapters ahead hold more than you can see in this moment: more love, more wisdom, more joy, and more peace than you've ever known. Keep your faith steady, your heart strong, and your eyes open for the new opportunities that are already on their way. The best is yet to come.